Welcome to day 3 of SuFamiMas, the Super Famicom Christmas Advent Calendar. Today we are playing a video pinball game, Jaki Crush here, from our friends at Naxat. And I've never been particularly good at pinball, so don't expect some great gameplay here. But it is a nice game, very much the Super Famicom see already. Very much the Super Famicom kind of sequel to the PC Engine Alien Cross and Devil's Crush on the Mega Drive, if I remember correctly. But unlike those games, this one never saw a Western release, and maybe that's because it has all this Japanese imagery. There was a time in the West where publishers were maybe too scared to put out games that looked too Japanesey. But I don't see why you wouldn't be able to play this in the West easily. Because video pinball is pretty fun, especially for someone like me who's not especially skilled at pinball, regular pinball. Does have a lot of extra stuff here with all the enemies and stuff walking around on the stage here. Come on. And let's see if we can get it into the demon mouth here. And I caught a documentary about pinball recently, which has a very interesting history. Like how it started out as amusement games. Well, they can trace back the roots all the way back to like the early, to games like bocce, you know, games you play with rocks on pavement, and then someone had the idea to make like a smaller version on a wooden board with pegs that you could play at home. And then someone had the idea to have like spring-loaded levers to shoot the ball out. But what happened in the 30s, I think, 1930s, was that someone had the bright idea, but that hey, what if you did particularly well, the game would allow you to continue your play by giving you an extra ball or the ability to pay out. And that turned out to be a horrible idea, because what happened then was that it immediately got associated with gambling machines, and of course there's always been a huge stigma against gambling machines, obviously. And the case ended that they started banning pinball machines all over the place. And it went all the way to court, where someone tried to argue that hey, pinball actually is a skill game, and it proved that by actually mentioning, actually showing that he could like say what he was aiming for and actually hit it. And then World War II happened, which put a break on all this kind of entertainment, since they needed factories and parts for that. And with World War II over, it started becoming popular again, but still had the thing hanging over its head, where people assumed that it was gambling machines and tied to criminal activity. But in 1947, to further prove that these were indeed skill games, they decided to introduce the flippers. Yes, prior to that point, it had only been the spring-loaded lever, and the ability to nudge the machine around, which is still used in pinball today, but not by me to any great effect because it never seems to work. But in this game, you can also like hit the shoulder button here to nudge to the machine and theoretically get the ball where you want it to go. But as I said, I've never been able to do that. But of course, the pinball makers wanted to have their cake and eat it too, so someone also started making something called bingo machines, which were still just had the spring-loaded mechanical lever that we see over here on the right, and then you had to hit numbers like on a bingo thing, and you could put more money in to increase your chances. Increase your chances to win. And since, you know, pinball machines and these bingo machines usually were found in the same place, a lot of pinball machines ended up getting like destroyed in police raids. And for many years you weren't allowed to have any pinball machines within a certain distance from schools, and you had to be like 18 to play pinball at all. In some American states, I want to say it was only until recently that they changed some of those laws, because it's just one of those old laws that everyone forget exists, and it doesn't really rear its head until someone actually looks over laws and stuff like that. But yeah, interesting history, and it's interesting to see where all the parts of pinball evolved from. That it didn't always have these flippers, and that they didn't always have like electronic scoring, which might have seemed a bit like a gimmick at a time, but really helped with the machine keeping track of everything itself, and an attendant didn't have to stand over and look at someone playing pinball and keeping score for them, so they could pay out their winnings. And it also really made me think, you know, how some variations of the same things exist in different parts of the world. And I always think about, how do they get there? Is it travelers who like travel from one place to another and then poorly explains, or it's poorly understood what certain things are? What I mean is, I know it's often associated with slot machines, but Japanese pachinko kind of has the same thing as early pinball, where it's like lever-operated electronic lever that shoots balls into the stage, and then you try to score and get points with those balls. That seems like if someone would explain pinball poorly, that and then you would say, hey, you should shoot balls onto the stage. Oh, you shoot like 700 balls at a time onto the stage, and then see if you can hit something. Yes, okay, let's call that pachinko because it's easier, more fun to say than pinball. I don't know. That's just theory. Anyway, I'm just not talking much about this game, I realize. I don't know if there's much to say about a video pinball game here. Looks good, sounds good. I haven't been able to get into any of the bonus areas yet, but there are like sort of like boss areas. Let's see if we can keep both balls in play here. As they say, but there are like boss areas where you can where you have to like shoot stuff. I haven't been able to complete any of them. But there's one where like a Japanese thunder god warping around on the screen and then shooting lightning. which I was able to get to prior to recording. So of course, when you want to record the gameplay, that's when you start doing poorly. Or maybe it's a concentration thing. After all, it is a skill game. Except when I play, I am getting a lot of extra balls here. Maybe I should talk to the doctor about that. This might be a boss. Yeah, this is a boss area, and one I haven't seen before. But it's all the same concept. You don't have you just have stuff on the screen here. Well, you have stuff on the screen everywhere. That's a poor explanation. But I mean, you just have the flippers on the bottom, and then it can be over just like that. But obviously, I was supposed to shoot all the demons out of the eyes and then shoot them again to dispatch them. Which didn't happen. We got a nice blocker here at the bottom. And that's the thing about video pinball, is that they can do stuff like this on the stage. Other video pinball games obviously try to replicate all the real stuff. Some of the late Williams tables and Bally Midway tables, I can't remember which are which. But you know, stuff I remember from the 90s, all the big ones. You know, you had Funhouse, you had all the Addams Family, Terminator 2 pinball. Those games were huge. They were huge, but I will say, back when I was a kid, in the 80s, 90s, the idea of pinball, it was usually something that you didn't play if there was video games. It seemed like more like something for the adults or for the older crowd. Of course, pinball would still be fun. Certainly you'd play it, but if there were video games there, forget about it. It's all about the videoed arcade games at that point. But I do remember that some arcades having tons of pinballs as well, which weren't all that frequented as much as video games were. Doing pretty good this time around. Does that mean my skill have improved? Or that I'm just lucky? Well, speak of the devil's crush. I wasn't that lucky. I think there's actually a way to there's a button here somewhere where I can see how many my points here, how many I have 2 balls left. Anyway, the focus I've seen in the recent years have been to replicate, you know, all the original classic arcade pinball games in a virtual format. But there was one very game heavily inspired by these Naxat Soft games here, called Demon's Tilt. Well, this guy's that's just downright creepy. Demon's Tilt, and it looks beautiful. It's on PlayStation 4, it's on Switch, it's on Xbox as well, I think. And yeah, it looks great. Has a ton of, you know, modern crazy neon effects. And now we gotta hit the eye here, if we can. Come on. Come on. Okay. Are you kidding me? I was this close. I wanted to see the face. mutate some more. I think it was gonna turn into a crazy demon face. Downright spookiest part of the game. I will say the main theme they have running in the background does get pretty repetitive after a while. Here's the Japanese thunder god here. I forgot if it's Fujin or Raijin. Or Raiden, sorry. Is it Raiden? Is it Raijin? Anyway, I didn't get him. But yeah, the main theme certainly does get a little bit repetitive. But hey, what are you gonna do? It's pinball. And now we are rapidly running out of extra balls here, even though I did great earlier. Well, that's par for the course. And that was Jaki Crush for the Super Famicom. We got a chance on an extra ball here, which obviously we missed. But hey, we made it pretty far up the balls here. So I just want to thank you for watching today, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.